Thank you for joining us for the 2020 Oklahoma Farm Bureau Annual Business Meeting. Here to begin our program is Oklahoma Farm Bureau President Rod Moselle.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our 2020 Oklahoma Farm Bureau Virtual Business Meeting. This evening's meeting will begin with our district caucus meetings. Oklahoma Farm Bureau members in Districts 1, 4, and 7 have to elect their district directors to serve on our state board, along with their District Women's Leadership Committee representatives. At this time, I will turn things over to your district caucus chairman to conduct their district caucus meetings. We will resume the virtual business meeting, a live stream at 6:30 p.m. to continue our business session. Thank you, and we'll see you in an hour.
Welcome back to the 2020 Oklahoma Farm Bureau Annual Business Meeting. Joining us live is Oklahoma Farm Bureau President Rod Moselle.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for joining us for our 2020 Oklahoma Farm Bureau Virtual Business Meeting. We've got folks gathered in 9 area meetings out across the state, and we've already heard from, I think, 6 of those and have over 200 folks we know in attendance there, plus all those that are accessing the program over their iPads or telephones or from home. So we welcome you all to the meeting tonight. Our bylaws set a quorum of 1/3 of all potential voting delegates eligible to attend. The 2020 total delegate eligibility is 473 in our 77 counties, and so 1/3 of that is 158. Based on the number of virtual attendees, it appears a quorum of delegates is present. Does any delegate wish for a roll call? I thought not. Hearing none, I declare a quorum is present, and we will proceed with the official business. Now, we'd already heard from Representative Grego, who's attending one of the area meetings, that the food had run out and he was impatient and wanted us to get going with the meeting. So here we are. We called our meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. this evening and turned things over to our caucus chairman in districts 1, 4, and 7, where they were electing board members and Women's Leadership Committee members to represent their districts. And now we will continue our evening with reports and updates from throughout our organization. We are excited to be rising to the occasion as Farm Bureau members from across our state gather virtually to conduct the business of our organization. We know that 2020 has been a trying year for all of us, but Oklahoma's farmers and ranchers can be proud of the job we in agriculture have done as we have risen to the occasion to provide certainty in these difficult times. We can take pride in our efforts to ensure that each and every American has access to the safest and most affordable food in the world. And while we cannot meet in person, even though I know we all would love to see each other face to face, the Oklahoma Farm Bureau State Board knows that this virtual meeting is the best option we have to provide for the health and safety of all of our members. I hope you're ready for an evening together, no matter if you're gathered together with friends in your district or if you are at home. First, please join me as we bow our heads to give thanks. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather today for our annual convention of Oklahoma Farm Bureau, and we thank you for the many blessings that you bestow on us throughout the year. We're so grateful for the time that you spend with us as we work our fields and our animals and work to take care and feed our families and our country and the world. We pray that you will be with us in our Farm Bureau meeting tonight as we make decisions and help us to make wise decisions. We pray that you will inspire us to reach out and care for one another and for our communities and our families and our country. We pray for your guidance and direction in all that we do. In your name, amen. We are delighted to kick off this evening's reports with a special greeting from our first guest of the evening, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt. And he was so excited to come speak to us tonight on the video that he pulled on his tux and is all fixed up fancy. He's the 28th governor of the state of Oklahoma. He is leading the state with a vision to become top 10 in critical categories from government accountability to job growth, infrastructure, education, and lots more. Governor Stitt is an entrepreneur and businessman who founded Gateway in Tulsa in 2000. Oklahomans spoke in record numbers that they wanted Stitt to use his business acumen to transform our state. In 2018, he received more votes than any gubernatorial candidate in state history in his first bid for elected office of any kind. Since taking office, he worked together with the legislature to produce historic reform in 5 of the largest state agencies, allowing him to identify and recruit the best talent to serve in critical leadership positions. He's already been a good friend to Farm Bureau in attending our leadership conferences in February, in participating in earlier state conventions, and being accessible for our webinars and other programming. Governor Stitt also led the state to build its largest savings account in history, which has proved to be prophetic in the face of a significant decline in the oil and gas markets since the COVID disruptions. He is a 4th-generation Oklahoma who graduated from Norman High School and is an alumnus of Oklahoma State University. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Kevin Stitt, Governor of Oklahoma.
Hello, Oklahoma Farm Bureau members. It is an honor to join you virtually to kick off this year's annual meeting, and I appreciate the opportunity to welcome you to this year's event. I know a virtual meeting is probably not what any of us had in mind, But if anyone is equipped to make the most of the circumstances this year, I know it is our Oklahoma farmers and ranchers. Agriculture producers, especially here in our home state, are known for their resiliency and ability to take the cards they are dealt and still make something grow. I want to say thank you to each of you for being great examples of the principles Oklahoma was built on: hard work, taking care of our neighbors, and being good stewards of our resources. Without a doubt, agriculture has weathered the storm of some challenging years recently, and 2020 has been no exception. Low commodity prices, uncertainty in global markets, disease threats, and Mother Nature have made for some significant challenges for our farmers and ranchers in the last few years. And of course, the pandemic has impacted everyone and their businesses. If there is a silver lining for the ag industry in these uncertain times, it is a renewed appreciation by consumers for the safe, wholesome food our farmers and ranchers lead the world in producing. People are interested in where their food comes from and making sure they have a reliable way to feed their families. It is now more apparent than ever how important ag is. And Oklahoma agriculture is absolutely vital to our state. Oklahoma ag producers help keep people around the globe fed, but they also keep our communities strong. Farmers and ranchers are the backbone of rural Oklahoma. They serve on school boards and in their local churches and support the local feed mills and veterinarians and small town and Main Street businesses. And even in hard times, ag never stops. I believe opportunity is on the horizon, and our state needs to be ready to capitalize on it. As governor, I have looked at our state's challenges with fresh eyes and a new perspective. I know you are continually discussing these challenges and the best ways to address them and move forward as an industry. As you put grassroots in action and set Oklahoma Farm Bureau policies and priorities, I challenge you to do the same thing, to think creatively and identify what we can do to keep Oklahoma strong and prosperous now and for the future generations. Over the last year, an important focus for my administration has been creating opportunities and increasing efficiencies. Secretary of Agriculture Blaine Arthur has led those efforts in Oklahoma's agricultural industry and zeroed in on adding meat processing capacity in our state, growing the Oklahoma Made in Oklahoma brand, and addressing needs of the industry like labor, while also prioritizing animal disease response and preparedness and maintaining safe and healthy food for all Oklahomans. We look forward to continuing to work in partnership with the Oklahoma Farm Bureau to identify areas of opportunity and help make Oklahoma farmers and ranchers successful. I appreciate the chance to be here with you today, and I am excited about the strides we are making for our state, especially in Oklahoma agriculture. I look forward to continuing to work with the Oklahoma Farm Bureau to make Oklahoma a top 10 state.
Thank you, Governor Stitt, for that message. We truly do believe from our visits with you that you understand the importance of agriculture and the importance of rural Oklahoma, and we look forward to continuing to work with you as we improve our state. Next, we will hear from our AFBF President, Zippy Duvall. He will share with us all the work that the American Farm Bureau has done this year on the national level to help agriculture. Zippy Duvall is president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, the nation's largest agricultural organization. He was first elected in January 2016, and he was re-elected to his third term in January of 2020. Zippy is a third-generation farmer from Georgia, where they raise beef cattle and broiler chickens and grow hay. Prior to being elected to the AFBF president, Duvall served for 9 years as president of the Georgia Farm Bureau. Let's hear from our American Farm Bureau president, Zippy Duvall.
Hello, Oklahoma, and I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today virtually. I want to thank Rod for making this possible for me to be able to visit with you, the grassroots of Oklahoma Farm Bureau. I think it's important that I have the opportunity to reach out and communicate with you. As far as you, the voting delegates and the grassroots, I want to thank you for sending us such a great guy. Rod is doing such a tremendous job as a board member. He asks all the right questions, and I just really appreciate his counsel. So thank you for sending him to represent you on the American Farm Bureau Board of Directors. You know, virtually, we're trying to meet. We have experienced an unbelievably learning curve of trying to decide how we're going to communicate. Zoom has become part of our lives. We even lay down at night sometimes and think we're on Hollywood Squares when we shut our eyes. So many squares before us. Of course, we would all love to be in person, shaking your hand, looking you in the eye, and talking to you personally. But hopefully, really soon, we'll get back to some normal way of meeting together and communicating. But because we're virtual, it has been a great learning curve, and we have been very successful in doing that. Just to give you some idea, in February we had about 35 Zoom calls that month, and in April it had increased to 750 that month, and I'm sure it's even more than that today. It has forced us as an organization to evaluate the situation we was in. A lot of you have traveled to Washington. We have a lot of in-person meetings. We're not being able to do that. So how are we going to communicate back to our grassroots? So the communication piece has been part of the silver lining of what's happened in COVID, because we discovered that we could take every week, each one of our departments could reach back to the state and communicate with you. And it has been a tremendous resource for us, American Farm Bureau, because every Wednesday I met with all the state presidents. Now it's bi-weekly. Dale Moore met with the administrators, the communications teams in the states, and our communications team met on Tuesday. We had programs meeting on Thursday and national affairs meeting on Fridays by Zoom. So we were able to listen to you and your staff about what your needs was. And it's been a tremendous success, and it's helped us become closer together, more united. And that's been a very good plus for us, because unity helps us keep us strong, working together. I've also made multiple calls to leaders of food industry, in the food industry. I've called the areas where we were having problems. I remember talking to Walmart about their policy of only 1 gallon of milk per family. And we had dairymen in parts of the country that was pouring out milk. The policy just didn't make any sense, and we had to try to fix some of those problems, and that's just one example. We also asked USDA to investigate beef pricing, because we know, just like what happened after the Holcomb fire, we had the same thing happen when the pandemic come on, because the packing companies was getting a high price for their boxed meat, and the farmers and beef cattle farmers were receiving even a lower price for their beef. So it didn't look right, didn't feel right, and USDA put that investigation out. We've also talked to the Trade Commodity Commission about it. And then we created our own beef cattle marketing working group. It was made up of 10 state presidents and some of their national affairs people to take a deep dive into what really was going on in the pricing of beef. And that report is out there as a resource to you to create policy, so that when we move into those discussions next year, that our policy is real clear on beef marketing. So we hope you use that material to help make some good policies for us to work with. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about today is the relationships. When I came to American Farm Bureau, I promised you that we'd rebuild relationships, find new partners, and have new relationships. And those relationships that we have built with this administration and other people around Washington have paid huge dividends to our farmers. On those weekly calls that I had with the state presidents, the relationship that I have with USDA and the president delivered some unbelievable guests on those calls. We had the secretary there, we've had congressmen, chairman of the House and Ag Committee, we've had people from the White House on those calls. It was really our way of bringing Washington to you or to your states in a time that you couldn't travel there. So it's been very beneficial, and having that relationship with this administration has been an influence on unprecedented financial aid for our farmers during a very difficult time. I call it the perfect storm. It was already the perfect storm before the pandemic. We didn't think anything else could be thrown at us because we had all kinds of natural disasters. We had trade war, we had depressed prices going into it, and then we put a pandemic on top of it. It definitely was the perfect storm, and this administration has stood behind us financially and helped us along with it. So we're very, very proud of that. Those relationships have been important in the regulatory reform area. We have continued to work with EPA. EPA is finally using some sound science to make some decisions with. The biggest win we probably had in this year is that we were successful in completing the Ditch the Rule campaign. We got rid of the Waters of the U.S. ruling from the Obama administration, and now we have a new rule from this EPA and the Trump administration that's simpler. It provides us with clear rules so that we can provide clean water for our nation, and we are very proud of that success story there. That's just one example of many regulatory reform things that we went through. Biotech rulings, we've had new ones released there. We've also got the requirement for us to report emissions from our cattle. We got us exempt from that. So there's all kinds of regulatory reform that's went on that we've been in the room having those conversations and playing a role in making sure we got them changed or done away with. Can't go through and talk about what's happened without talking about tax reform. This administration delivered tax reform, and we all know that our policy was to eliminate estate taxes. Well, we did get the exemptions raised high enough that it won't negatively affect a lot of our farmers across America. But we also got to remember that it's just for 5 years. So that could come to an end, and we got to be prepared to continue to fight that battle and to continue to try to do away and eliminate the state taxes. Trade has been a bright area. Even though we had a trade war going on, they did provide assistance back to the farm. Of course, it didn't replace everything that we possibly could have lost, but it did give us the opportunity to breathe a little easier while they worked on trade. This administration's taken a different approach with tariffs and hard line, and we renegotiated USMCA, modernized it, brought some of the rules and regulations up to date, which is a very positive thing for us, and also has increased the trade. We estimate another $2 billion on top of the $40 billion that was already in what we had experienced in NAFTA. So that is a bright area. The phase one China agreement, we just got word just this weekend or a few days ago that China is going to be purchasing 71% of their projected sales that they said they'd be buying from us this year. And even though that's not 100%, it's still real good because it's $23 billion worth, and that's a lot more than what they did last year. We also are seeing those purchases grow, and so we're real excited that in a bad world economy and during a pandemic that they're going to come that close to achieving the goal of what they have promised to do in this year. So trade has been a very bright spot that we think in the future is going to pay us even more dividends. We think it'll continue to grow, and we'll continue to work with this administration on that. If you talk about silver linings in a pandemic or in a bad situation, you have to look around real hard to find silver linings in problems that we have. But one of the silver linings we had was when our consumers or our friends and neighbors started going to the grocery store and back in March and April and saw some empty shelves. It's the first time in our lifetime we've ever experienced it. It made people that wasn't connected to agriculture take a step back and say, what about our food? Is there going to be enough food? Is it going to be safe? And of course, we heard those questions coming up. So we took it on ourselves to create what we call #Still Farming. It gave us an opportunity to tell the farmer's story and to reassure the general public that we are still farming and that it's not a lack of food that we produce, but just some problems in the food chain getting it to them. So that #Still Farming has touched over 92 million people. That's a third of our population almost in America. 89 countries have used that hashtag. So it's been a huge success, and we're looking for the next step we do in that to deliver with #Still Farming. So the other silver lining I would say in this pandemic is it's really made us a stronger organization. Through all the new communication efforts that we have put forth, it has brought our unity closer together. You know, one of our conventions years ago was about unity. And this convention that's coming up in January is going to be about Stronger Together. It's going to be virtual. We've waived all the fees to be part of it. We're real excited about this opportunity because we think it's going to give more of our grassroots an opportunity to attend our convention. And we think a lot of people outside of agriculture may have so much interest in agriculture today, they may want to look into our organization and see some of the good work that we're doing. We're going to have some fantastic speakers, and it's also going to highlight the great talent that we have working in the American Farm Bureau. So I hope you'll plan on attending our national convention virtually in the comfort of your home, and hopefully you'll enjoy being a part of that national convention. So we're excited about delivering that to you. So unity and Stronger Together is really something. It's been a silver lining in this pandemic for our organization. You know, I know we look around outside of Farm Bureau, even though we're more united, we see that our country is just terribly divided, and it concerns us all. And it reminds me of a Bible verse in Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. It says, I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say, and that there is no division among you, but you are perfectly united in mind and thought. Our nation seems to be very divided, but I believe that we still are united in the vision and hope of America: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I believe the unity that we have in Farm Bureau, knowing that we are stronger together, sets a great example for America. Farm Bureau members represent the best of our nation. And I am so proud to work with and alongside each and every one of you. I hope that you have a very successful convention. And I want to thank you personally for all the time and effort you contribute to in developing our policy. You bring the knowledge that we need to know what you want us to do. It creates a perfect roadmap for us to work by next year. So thank you for all you're going to do in the policy area, and I hope you have a great convention. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, President Zippy. I have to interject there that when you make your membership dues each year to Farm Bureau, $5 of your dues goes on to support the American Farm Bureau Federation in Washington, D.C., and I also have the honor of serving on that board to represent you. And one of the things Zippy mentioned tonight was going to up to 700 Zoom calls a month. One of the things that's happened during COVID is really a lot more communication with AFBF than we had prior to this, because we've been having the communications teams meet every 2 weeks or so on the telephone. The presidents for a long time were meeting every week during all the market disruptions. The executive directors like Thad were meeting and are still meeting every week or 2 weeks. And so our communication with AFBF and with other state farm bureaus has been unlike it's ever been, and has been a big help in helping us to respond and speak up for farmers and ranchers everywhere. I know I truly appreciate Zippy's leadership for our Farm Bureau members in Washington, D.C. and all around the country. As I mentioned earlier, the business meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. and district caucus meetings were held in person in Districts 1, 4, and 7 to conduct elections. They elected members to serve on the Oklahoma Farm Bureau State Board, and those new members elected tonight are from District 1, Leon Richards of Texas County, and that was a real hot race between three great candidates. We're blessed with such amazing leadership in Farm Bureau, so congratulations to Leon on winning that race. From District 4, excited to have Kerry Gibbons, who's had a lot of experience on the Foundation Board from Comanche County, joining the State Board. And then from District 7, a longtime county president in Kay County, Stacy Simonek, is a new representative in that district. Now, these three new state board members were just elected tonight, and they have really big shoes to fill. They're replacing three board members we'll talk about later who've been a fundamental part of turning around Oklahoma Farm Bureau the last few years. So we expect big things from these three new leaders elected to your state board. We will now move to the items of business that require approval by voting delegates of Oklahoma Farm Bureau. Those of you serving as voting delegates will have the opportunity tonight to vote in just a few moments on several business items before our organization. Voting delegates that are attending our in-person gatherings in each of our 9 Oklahoma Farm Bureau districts will vote in person at their local gatherings, and then that'll be texted into us here at the convention center. And for our voting delegates that are participating remotely tonight, instructions on how to vote were provided to them ahead of tonight's meeting in emails. Hopefully you've checked that out and are ready to vote. If you're voting remotely, you will have a prompt pop up on your video screen asking you to cast your vote. Simply click or tap your response when asked to vote on the business items. We ask you to vote promptly after we announce the vote, because some of those votes are going to have about 2 minutes, others will be during a speech or presentation that may be 4 or 5 minutes. So the quicker you vote, the better we get the results. Our first item of business that we will vote on tonight is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau membership body a year ago. Minutes were provided to all voting delegates for their review prior to this evening's meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from last year? Blake Berry from Stevens County made the motion to approve the minutes, and he does have a correction, I see, to correct 2016 to 2019 at one spot in the minutes. Do I have a second? Nakona Cook from Ouachita County is now seconded. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Now, please vote now on your device or at your meeting to approve the minutes as presented with the one correction. Now, while we wait for the votes to be counted, we will get an update on the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture from Foundation President and Oklahoma Farm Bureau District 3 Director, David Von Tunglen.
Good evening, everyone, and on behalf of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture, I want to welcome you to the Oklahoma Farm Bureau annual meeting. And I know this is a little unique and new for some people, but we're glad you're with us tonight, and thanks for taking the time to join us this evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm David Von Tunglen. I'm president of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture. And what a blessing and what a privilege it is to be able to serve an organization that seeks to spread the word of agriculture and improve the state through our efforts. First of all, let me thank each and every one of you, for without your generous support over the years, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And the foundation has a number of projects that we were working on that both tell the agriculture story to those who don't know it and support our agriculture communities through our efforts as well. I want to thank my board. I've got one of the best boards there is, and I thank them so much. They give their time and their talents, and they're the ones that get down in the trenches and do the work of this foundation. And I've just got the privilege to lead this group, and I can tell you it's a very, very humbling as well as satisfying experience, and I'm very thankful for that. Let me run down a few of our projects we've been working on, not only this year, but for the past few years. We've got a new one this year that's been really fulfilling. We work with Restore OKC in Oklahoma City that serves the inner city school districts in Oklahoma City with garden projects. They work with the inner city schools. They have a large 2 or 3 acre garden. They have a hydroponics project, and this year they're adding some animal projects to use in their educational processes to educate the inner city youth all about agriculture and what agriculture means to the state, and to also educate them as to where their food comes from and how much effort it takes to produce it. We partnered with Farm Credit of Western Oklahoma this year to purchase them a small Kubota tractor to use in their gardening efforts. It's just been a privilege to work with that entity and see those seeds continue to grow as the years go past. Of course, one of our long-running projects is Pork for Packs. And we didn't know where we were going to be with that this year with the OYE being shut down, but through our partnership with the 4-H and FFA young adults through the state and their hunger challenge, we collected 730 pigs this year, which were processed to produce 1.17 million protein sticks that were distributed through the regional food bank to all 77 counties to provide the underprivileged youth with help meet their protein needs throughout the state. We continue with our fire relief efforts, and this year we sponsored training classes for our rural fire departments to respond to rural wildfires and natural disasters. That training is required for them, and it's very expensive, and we were glad to be able to help out with that endeavor. We continue with our storm relief. Seems like every year we have storms and natural disasters somewhere, and this year was no different. We assisted our neighbors in Iowa and Louisiana to the hurricane and the excessive rain and wind events in Iowa. And it's through your generosity that we're able to continue to do those and support those in need. Another one of our long-standing projects is Bushels for Books. We do that in cooperation with the women's leadership team, and it's been a very productive endeavor over the years. Since its inception, we have distributed books to 97 different schools, a total of 380 books, and we will continue with that this year and award a bushel of books to 12 different school systems. I just want to thank you again for your support. Like I said, without you, we couldn't do any of this. I'm not surprised by it. When there's a need, our Oklahoma Farm Bureau family always steps up to meet that need. But I know there are plenty of places you can give of your time, your finances, your prayers and support, and we just thank you that you've chosen us. With our unique format to our annual meeting this year, it wasn't possible for us for the foundation to have their silent auction this year. And so I'd like to make you aware of a couple of ways that you can give if you feel so led. In your Oklahoma Today magazine that you should have gotten in the mail this week, right in the middle of the magazine, where there's the article on the foundation, there's an envelope there that's pre-addressed, and you can make a contribution, put it in that envelope and send it in, or you can always go to the Foundation for Agriculture website and contribute there as well. Once again, I want to thank you for the privilege of being able to serve you. I want to thank you for your generous support and all that you do. Mostly I want to thank you for spreading the word of spreading the message of agriculture and doing all that you do to produce food and fiber to feed and clothe this nation. If I can promise you the foundation will continue to do all that we can do to educate consumers, support agriculture throughout the state and the nation. And if any of you have any suggestions for projects in the future, please feel free to contact one of our board members or me or your field reps, and they'll get the word to us. Once again, thanks for all that you do, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, David. I also have the pleasure of serving on that foundation board, and it's really inspiring to have the chance to represent you as members in doing these outstanding efforts to serve our community across the state and to spread the word about agriculture and help educate folks about agriculture. In the past, most of the funds that have come from the foundation have come from the $3.50 in voluntary dues that is part of your $10 dues voluntary package. For the first time, the foundation's trying to really reach out and encourage you to give over and above that voluntary dues, and that's the envelope that David just mentioned that's in the magazine. We'd encourage you to give some extra besides the extra you give at your membership time to help with the great things that the foundation does. And if we can get that funded a little bit better, we can do even more to educate folks across our state about agriculture and to spread the word and goodwill that comes from agriculture. During David's remarks, our team here has tallied the votes for the approval of the minutes, and the minutes are approved. Our next item of business is to announce to our members that the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Board of Directors has approved an amendment to the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Articles of Incorporation that are filed with the Secretary of State. Our Articles of Incorporation were reviewed by our legal counsel, and a recommendation was made that be amended to state that the duration of Oklahoma Farm Bureau is perpetual instead of just 50 years, which is what was allowed in the past. Our charter runs out on November 10th of this year if the board hadn't taken action, and so the board took action, accepted this recommendation, and voted to make the duration of our organization perpetual going forward, and it has already been filed with the Secretary of State in your behalf. Moving on to our next report, we have an update from the Oklahoma Farm Bureau's 2 political action committees. The Oklahoma Farm Bureau Ag Fund, which is our state level PAC, which has existed for some years, and the brand new Oklahoma Farm Bureau Ag PAC, which is our new federal PAC, which had its first action ever this election season that just ended. Both the Ag Fund and the Ag PAC are chaired by Jackson County Farm Bureau member Keith Felty, and I know it's been a busy year for Keith and the Ag Fund and Ag PAC committee members. I will now turn it over to Keith to give us his report on the activities in 2020.
First, I would like to thank all of our members who have donated to the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Ag Fund. Your contributions allow us to support qualified candidates for public office in Oklahoma who will help support agriculture, our rural communities, and our Oklahoma Farm Bureau policies, regardless of political affiliation. Throughout the 2020 election cycle, the Ag Fund has donated $77,750 supporting 56 candidates, which leaves us with a balance of $22,944.96. The Ag Fund also endorsed 13 candidates. Through the primary and runoff elections, we had a success rate of over 90%. We are still calculating our final success rate from Tuesday's general election. This year, we also launched the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Ag PAC to participate in federal races. In doing so, we endorsed 6 candidates running to represent Oklahoma in the U.S. House and Senate. I would like to recognize our Ag Fund and Ag PAC board members who dedicate their time to studying the races and carefully choosing political candidates to support. District 1, Leon Richards. I serve as representative for District 2. District 3, Wayne Taggart. District 4, Roger Fisher. District 5, Terry Caldwell. District 6, Charlie Koblentz. District 7, Steve Clark. District 8, Leroy Odell. District 9, Sue Farmer. I appreciate the hard work of the committee this year, and thank you again to all our Farm Bureau members who contribute to our political action committees.
Thank you, Keith. We appreciate the volunteer action of all these members on the fund, Ag Fund and Ag PAC. They truly do make a difference, and they allow Farm Bureau a lot higher visibility with our elected leaders. Next, we will have the policyholders meeting of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company. I hereby call the annual policyholders meeting of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company to order. A declaration of a quorum. I hereby declare that a quorum is attending and the 2020 policyholders meeting is officially in session. The Oklahoma Farm Bureau Board of Directors nominated the board members for 3-year terms in Districts 1, 4, and 7 in accordance with the district caucuses which were held at 5:30 p.m. today. I will now entertain a motion. Wayne Taggart from Caddo County made the motion to approve these new board members elected today to sit on the Insurance Mutual Board. Do I have a second? Roger Fisher from Cotton County has seconded. We now ask our voting delegates to please cast your votes through the prompts on your screens. And while our voting delegates are voting to approve the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance Board members, we will turn it over to Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance Executive Vice President and General Manager Gary Buckner for his insurance company report for 2020.
Good evening. Thank you for joining with us tonight and taking your time out of your busy afternoons and evenings to sit in and listen on our 2020 business meeting for your annual convention. I'd like to kick things off by thanking Dustin Milkey for all his work and his team for setting up this program for us. It's been a different kind of year for everybody and lots of different changes in our first virtual convention, and I really appreciate that. So if we kind of kick things off this year, we look at 2020, we kind of been presented with several different challenges and risks this year. And when I say different challenges and risks, I mean that in a good way. You know, our company come from some trying times back in 2008, and we've continued to make improvements and changes in our strategies and processes here to prevent any type of significant capital loss. You know, when we're faced with different times as being a single state insurer. So when you look at 2020, even though it's been pretty tough and pretty challenging, we did continue to learn from it. And ultimately, the company did very well, and we did a good job with protecting our capital. So when you kick the year off, you know, we start off with a recession, and what that does to us pretty much is, in short, depresses our return on investments. So from an insurance standpoint, we don't make money off not paying claims. The goal is to underwrite things properly, invest some money, and make money off investments. So when you have a recession, it kind of puts a damper on your cash flow as far as what's coming in from that side of the market. And then we led into a pandemic this year. You know, first in my lifetime almost to come across this, but that puts a stress on your employees, puts a stress on our customers, and that led into a state of an emergency, which also, you know, led to businesses being closed, people without jobs. All those add in to a pandemic and stress on any type of organization, insurance included. That also led into historical cat losses this year. Our storm season actually started in March this year, which is normal, but it ran through August, which is about a month longer than usual. It was very, very widespread, very active season, not only for Oklahoma, but at a global standpoint. And when you look at reinsurance and the catastrophes across our globe this year, you think, well, how does that affect us, Gary? Well, that affects your reinsurance costs for the year. So you factor that in with a historical year, a pandemic, a state of emergency, a recession, and then we lead into expression of emotions going into the end of the second, first, and third quarter. So that, you know, you look at it, you think, well, maybe the year is shaping up to be pretty good. And we've also now just experienced a historical ice storm, which came through last week. Early ice storm. We still had green leaves on the trees, as many of you know. Most of this ice storm focused from the far southwest up to the northwest and a little bit east of the city. But overall, it's done significant damage to trees. Power lines are down, and it's probably one of the largest losses in OG&E history as far as power outages. So several curveballs have been thrown at us this year. When you look at what's left, we have 2 months in the year to come. I'm not going to speculate on what could happen in the last 2 months. But we have seen many different things, many different trials this year. And with that, I reassure you that the company did come out well. You say, well, how did it turn out, Gary? Well, from a business standpoint, it was a business as usual for us. Even though the state went into a state of emergency and we had the pandemic, insurance companies are essential. And we had to keep the doors open and keep people moving forward. So even though we experienced historical cat losses in 2020, we did have our adjusters on the ground. We're the first persons in, the first persons out. We have taken care of our members. We've done an exceptional job. I'm very proud of our adjusters and agents for getting out there and being with our customers. And I want to point out that even though we were going through a state of emergency, that the majority of the carriers, almost all of them here in Oklahoma, did not have any adjusters out actually working claims. So our competition, even though sometimes they have better rates than us, they have still not worked their claims from the March hailstorms. And as of the recent historical ice event we had last week, they are still not sending anybody in. And I'm proud to say that our claims department has already been working them, and we're more than 50% completed with that ice storm. So as I mentioned, it's been business as usual as far as what we've been dealing with this year. Has it been challenging? Absolutely. And the main thing is that we learned from it. So getting past the start of the year, you say, well, where are we, Gary, year to date? As you come out of Q3, from a financial standpoint, we did make our CIC final payment in January of this year of $4 million. So we're down to $12.8 million of surplus notes. We no longer owe CIC any money, which is very, very nice. It'll help take some stress off our investment income. So we're down to 12.8. We are still on a plan to get that 12.8 paid off within the next 4 years if things work out right. Surplus-wise, we're at $134 million. That is actually down compared to where we started the year at $144. As I mentioned earlier, it's been a tough 3 quarters, and overall the $10 million is made up of a $4 million payment, and then the $5 million of market loss with the recession, and the rest is operational wise. So all the things I mentioned earlier do take a toll on your bottom line. From an operational standpoint, outside the financials, we did accomplish all of our goals we set out this year that we mentioned at last year's policyholders meeting. Our AM Best reaffirmed our FSR rating this year. We have a stable outlook. We're looking optimistic to move to an A- or A- in the next couple of years. We did launch our business owner policy, which is aimed at our rural communities and helping our rural members with affordable insurance on their businesses. Another thing that we're really proud of is we've hired 22 agents this year, and we're definitely in our growth mode. Greg Golden has done a fantastic job with seeking out new agents and trying to get that growing going in all the counties. And last but not least, we're launching a brand new Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance Roadside Rescue program effective 12/1. And what that is the insurance company, we are a member's benefit. So if someone joins the Federation and buys a membership, they have access to the insurance company along with other good benefits that are listed on the back of the card and on your website. With that now, if you become a member, whether you have a policy with Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance or not, the insurance company will offer you a free roadside rescue card program. So that'll be coming to you in December. It'll have all the terms and conditions of it. It is as a perk of being a member with the Federation, and it gives us an opportunity to sell you some insurance as well. But we're really excited about that. From a COVID standpoint, COVID-19, I've heard several people ask about giving money back on auto premium. When we come through COVID-19, we did not see a decrease in our claims, auto claims, like other carriers did. And when you look at that, you say, why is that, Gary? Well, Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance is a more solid company. It's been around for several years. Actually, we're coming into our 75th year in 2021, which we're very excited about. So our book of business was more essential. As we look through it, it's more mature. It's been here a long time. It has stayed with Farm Bureau. It is truly a Farm Bureau product. So even though we did not see the claims decrease, where there was no money as far as to give back to the policyholders. However, with the roadside rescue, we looked at that from a leadership standpoint and decided that's a gift that we'll continue to give even past the COVID-19. It's a peace of mind when traveling down the road. It's global, or not global, sorry, covers in all the states. So it'll be there for you to keep you on the road and moving forward. So as we look toward the end of this year, year-end projections from a financial standpoint, we're hoping to be at about $258 million written premium. That's going to be up around 1% for the year. That's very solid given the year we've had. With all the turbulence with the recession and the pandemic and the state of emergency, there's been a lot of movement of business. People are shopping more. They're looking to save all they can, and I totally understand that. So to be up 1% is fantastic. From a policy standpoint, we'll probably be close to flat, if not 500 policies down. When we first started, and I came in this position in 2015, we were losing around 800 policies a month. So we went positive 5 months in a row this year, which is the first time since 2008, which we're very excited about. We had a little loss in September, so still continuing to work on that, but very positive that it's moving in the right direction and that the things we're correcting are actually bearing results. So policy growth would be around flat to down 500. I'm not sure if we'll be able to make a surplus note payment this year, given our surplus will probably come in at $144 million, which is flat year over year. We'll make up the ground of the loss we've experienced the first 3 quarters. And as far as from a operational standpoint, when you set your financials out there, we'll have the goals as usual, but we're going to continue adapting our strategy to make the changes we need to make our company successful, continue working ourselves out of debt, and trying to have some slow, profitable growth. Naturally, rates are definitely on our radar. We look at rates every year, and we would love to make a significant rate change. But given our current financial situation, we can only make small adjustments or we take the chance of risking our company and going through another 2008 experience, which none of us want to do. So in closing, I want to thank you for your time once again, for coming out tonight and at least watching the video and participating in the new virtual meeting. I would like to thank our board and Rod for their leadership this year. They've done a great job in making decisions that will help this company continue to move forward and continue supporting your membership. I'd also like to welcome the new 3 board members, which I'm not sure yet who that is, I'm sorry. But welcome to you, and I look forward to sitting down and visiting with you and our leadership team and getting everyone trained and starting a fresh new year. And then last but not least, I'd like to say thank you to Alan Jett and Jimmy Wayne Kenner and Keith Kissling as they rotate off the board this year. And I really appreciate their support and all they've done for the insurance company and just taking the time and the commitment to come to a meeting every month and to be here for us as a sounding board. So we'll miss those guys, look forward to the 3 new ones. And then I want to close out with saying thank you to my leadership team. As I mentioned earlier, 2020 it's been difficult and challenging, but we've all learned from it, and as long as we learn from it, we'll be fine. They did a very good job. I'm proud of them, and looking forward to what they can do in 2021. So with that, thank you again for allowing me to be your Executive Vice President and General Manager. I wish you the best in 2020 for the remainder of these 2 months, and I hope to see you in 2021 at next year's convention. Thank you again for your time, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Gary, for that steadfast leadership of the insurance company. I have to interject at that point how excited we as a board are that we're growing again. You heard that 22 new agents have been hired. It's exciting that we're moving from a shrinking deal that we went through for many years to we're back to a nice even plateau and ready to start growing again. So look forward to welcoming those new agents across the state. Also, it's a huge move by the staff and the board to add the road service program. We think it's even better than the AAA program, and it's tied to your membership. So another benefit of being an Oklahoma Farm Bureau Federation member, you'll now qualify for that plan that can give you service up to 3 times a year. And unlike AAA, where the person whose name's on the card has to be the one there, it can be anybody in the immediate family. So look forward to that new benefit starting December 1st, and we hope it leads to lots more members and makes it easier for you to talk other folks into becoming Farm Bureau Federation members, even if they don't have Farm Bureau insurance. And the votes have been tallied, and the Oklahoma Farm Bureaus have voted to approve the nominees to serve on the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company Board of Directors. I'll show you how that happens a little bit. Is we've worked hard to separate the insurance company and the Federation. So even those 3 new directors elected tonight and the 6 previous directors and myself all serve on both those boards, but we serve with one hat on when we're at the insurance company and do insurance training and make insurance decisions, and with the other hat when we're doing Federation business. And we've worked hard to separate the finances and the board responsibilities of each of those 2 entities. Next, I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the General Manager's Report for Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance Mutual Company. Alan Jett, one of our outstanding board members that's leaving us and rotating off the board from Beaver County, has made the motion to approve the General Manager's Report. Do I have a second? Sid Morgan from Seminole County is seconded. It has been moved and seconded. I ask that our voting delegates now cast your vote either at your voting place. There's about 220 people at the 9 area meetings. We have 9 county offices that have about 45 people there, and about 18 that are just out on the online, maybe on a tractor or sitting at home. So we have about 300 folks that are voting in one of those 3 techniques. We ask you to vote at this time. As we wait on the vote to approve the General Manager's Report, if there's any member participating tonight that has any questions for Gary Buckner, you can contact him either by calling him personally at 405-523-2300 or by submitting a contact form that's on the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance website by visiting okfbinsurance.com and click the Contact Us link. You can also visit with your county chairman or the field services staff, and they can help get you connected to Gary as well. The votes are now in concerning, well, they can't be in quite yet. I need to talk for a little bit. So we can't tell you how proud we are of the progress that we've made at the insurance company. It's come so far over the last few years. We had over $40 million in surplus notes, and we're now down to the $12.8 million. We're back growing again. We have a wonderful staff, and I think as you talk to people out across the state, especially this year in the year of COVID, you heard Gary talking about our claims department. That's something that really separates our insurance company from everyone else, is our claims people stayed active on the ground all through the action of this year. Instead of just using satellite photos or having people take pictures, our folks made hands-on visits to our insured folks when they had issues and have been solving their problems directly and personally. Now I'm told the votes are in regarding the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company General Manager's Report, and it has been approved. Thank you for your help. We now need a motion to adjourn the annual policyholders meeting of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company. Do I have a motion for that? Okay, they tell me that Don Shawneke from Lincoln County has just made the motion to adjourn the policyholders meeting? Do I have a second to adjourn the policyholders meeting? Mary Chris Barth from Beaver County, who was one of the outstanding candidates for the district board seat out there, has just seconded it. So we now have a motion and a second. I ask our voting delegates to now cast your vote. As we wait for the vote to adjourn the Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company policyholders meeting, let's watch a short video that features the dedicated service our insurance company provides to our members.
The tornado had went right through the heart of his place. So it was really wondering if he was okay.
I seen some lights come up, and I thought, who in the world's that coming up here at this time of night? Knowing that Billy was there, coming out and giving me support like he did, meant a whole lot.
If you have to go that extra mile to do it, to take care of them, that's what you try to do. I'm proud to serve Oklahoma. I'm proud to be an Oklahoman, and that's what I do, and that's what I'm going to do.
You know, we really appreciate the dedication of our insurance agents and their employees. And what you just saw in that short video repeats every day with our agents and our claims folks all across the state. So we deeply appreciate their commitment to serving our Farm Bureau members and our communities. Okay, the votes are officially in, and except for the two clowns that voted no, I will adjourn the annual policyholders meeting of the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company. Can we tell who that was that voted no? For our next report of the evening, I'd like to welcome Robert Biershank, the Finance Committee Chairman. The Finance Committee met via Zoom on November 3rd, earlier this week at 7 p.m., and now Mr. Biershank, who also serves as the County Chairman of Oklahoma County, will give the final 2020 Oklahoma Farm Bureau Financial Committee report on the finances of your federation.
Good evening. We, the Financial Review Committee, have carefully examined the balance sheets and operating statements as of October 31st, 2020, as presented by Amy Wilson, OKFB Accountant, and Monty Tucker, Treasurer. We find them to be in order, and our view is that they reflect careful and prudent financial operation of Oklahoma Farm Bureau during the period covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I point out one of the things that committee acts each year to look at the finances on behalf of all the Federation members and make sure that the spending and finances of the organization are in order. And I will tell you that Thad and the complete board and myself are all committed to transparency and to making sure that all of our records and finances are open and accessible. This committee does that on your behalf. I'll now entertain a motion to accept the Financial Committee report. Jill DeRusha from Greer County has made the motion to approve the financial report as presented. Do we have a second? John Pfeiffer of Logan County has seconded. We now have a motion and a second. Voting delegates, please cast your vote for the approval of the Finance Committee report. As you vote on the financials, let's hear from our newly re-elected Women's Leadership Committee Chairman, Mignon Bollet from District 7.
Thank you, Rod. Our Women's Leadership Committee was faced with a challenging year, but we haven't slowed down our efforts in sharing the importance of agriculture and Farm Bureau. I want to sincerely thank each committee member for their dedication. This year, our committee and the women within the counties they represent took on a variety of activities and projects, including our annual Farm City Festival, Read and Accurate Agriculture Book Day, activities with Ag in the Classroom, and many more. I'm excited to share with you the newly elected 2021 committee. We had elections for these 3 district WLC positions at tonight's district caucuses, and we congratulate those ladies who were elected. I look forward to working with this committee next year. We hope that in the coming year, we will be able to return to hosting our usual activities and introduce new ideas with our program of work. This can be done as we have courage to be the ongoing voices for the agriculture across the state. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve as your chair. I'm excited to work alongside the women and I'm ready to rise to the occasion of helping to promote our organization.
Thank you, Mignon, and congratulations to Mignon, who was just re-elected today, and congratulations to the entire Women's Leadership Committee. Mignon has really been over backwards this year, trying, even in spite of COVID and all, to try to establish some more county organizations of the Women's Leadership Team. I think she's had 3 or 4 more counties that are either started or getting ready to start. And so if your county's interested in starting a Women's Leadership Team, please let Mignon know, and she'll certainly get you all the tools you need to get an organization started in your county. We now have the votes in regarding the Financial Committee report, and the report is approved. Our next order of business will be the election of delegates to serve at the business session of the 2021 American Farm Bureau Annual Meeting. Now, originally that meeting was going to be held in San Diego, California. Now, as Zippy alluded to earlier, it's going to be a virtual meeting in January 2021, and details will be finalized in the coming weeks. You'll be able to access it either by going to a county office or over your iPad or telephone or home computer. The Oklahoma Farm Bureau Board of Directors presents the following names for approval to serve as delegates to the AF business meeting, and that we're planning to have them attend that resolution session at the state offices in Oklahoma City. Sorry you don't get to go to San Diego this year, guys, but we'll have a good time in Oklahoma City if you're selected to be one of these delegates. As president, I'm honored to be one of the delegates that's being recommended. From District 2, they're recommending Monty Tucker, that serves on the state board. From District 3, Karen Dobson, who serves on the Women's Leadership Committee. Cody Goodnight, the new chairman of the Young Farmers and Ranchers, and James Fuser from the board in District 6. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the delegates to serve at the business session of the 2021 American Farm Bureau Annual Meeting. Okay, Jimmy Kinder, another of our outstanding board members that's rotating off from Cotton County, has made the motion to approve the 2021 Oklahoma Farm Bureau delegates to attend the virtual convention. Do we have a second? Tony Edwards from LaFleur County has seconded. We now have a motion and a second. Voting delegates, please vote now at your location or on your iPad for approval of the AFBF delegates for 2021. While our members cast their vote, I would like to welcome Nakona Cook from Ouachita County, who serves along with his wife Jordan as your 2020 Young Farmers and Ranchers Chairman.
Thank you. It's been a privilege to serve as your 2020 Young Farmers and Ranchers Chairman. I served this year along with my wife Jordan, and we had a great year, even though we had to make some adjustments to our activities. Jordan and I want to say thank you to our wife and our committee this year. We were able to have a number of events to provide leadership opportunities for our members, including our Day at the State Capitol, our summer conference in July, and our shotgun shoot this September, which raised funds for the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture. Thanks again to this year's committee for making all these events possible. Our YF&R members held their caucus on October 24th to elect new state YF&R committee members, including the new chairman for the upcoming year. Congratulations to the members selected to serve on the committee. We know they are going to do a great job hosting events to help build the next generation of leaders for Farm Bureau. Jordan and I had a great year with our YF&R committee, and we want to encourage anyone who knows somebody ages 18 to 35 who would be a great addition to our YF&R program to reach out to your district committee member and help get them involved. Thanks again for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Nakona and Jordan, for your service to Oklahoma Farm Bureau. The Young Farmers and Ranchers is really something that the board and myself are all committed to. It's really important that we get more young people involved in agriculture, give them a chance to develop their leadership and to see the big picture of agriculture, all the other phases of agriculture besides the parts that they're involved in their own farm and ranch. And so we're excited to see that program continue to grow and get stronger. We're excited about the leadership they've taken to develop the Collegiate Farm Bureau programs and to support the 4-H and FFA programs. The votes have been tallied regarding the approval of our 2021 American Farm Bureau Annual Meeting delegates, and the delegates as presented were approved. Okay, you can see they bought a podium out, and I'm going to give my annual presidential address. Hopefully we can get them to give me some signals every so often of how I'm doing on time, because I tend to ramble a little bit, but it's a real pleasure for me, and I look forward each year for the chance to share some insights about what all's going on at Oklahoma Farm Bureau. This truly has been a unique and challenging year. That's been true in each of your own operations. It's been true in our families. It's true in our country. And it's certainly true at Farm Bureau. We've tried to be as normal as possible in most things and have still conducted a lot of the things we've been used to. We've had to adapt a few things. We've added new things like webinars and a new Roundup newsletter. I was told to make the Roundup sign as I was doing that, and they're going to pay me $5 extra. There's been a lot of unusual, unique things this year, and the key word has had to be flexibility. And I think we can take our hats off to our staff and our members and how we've all been working to adjust to these unique and changing times and display that flexibility. And I suspect we're still going to have to be using flexibility for the better part of this next year till the vaccine gets widely available and most of us have had it and we can try to keep returning to more and more normalcy. I'm very proud of our farmers and ranchers and how they've responded in these tough times. We got to see during all the disruptions from COVID, especially back when states and the country were doing lots of closing, farmers and ranchers continue to produce their crops, they continue to produce their animals. The problem was not the farmers and ranchers. They kept doing what they do best. We discovered lots of flaws in the processing system and in the distribution system, things that we now can know to work on to help if we ever face these kind of circumstances again. And Farm Bureau at the Oklahoma level and at the national level is working hard to try to address some of those issues. From the COVID disruptions to the national elections to the ice storm that we just had here in Oklahoma, we've continued to see all these new challenges that we're having to deal with. There's many still without power. My wife Donna and I, for day 9 or 10, we're here without power and still hoping OG&E gets us turned back on again. But as a good farmer, we're blessed that the power stayed on in our greenhouses. If we had the choice of heat and air movement for the plants or for ourselves, it's an obvious choice to have it for the plants. And I'm sure each of you would be the same way. So we actually feel blessed even though we're facing those challenges. You heard about our PACs tonight. The National PAC was newly formed this year, and it had a score of 6-0 as it supported all 5 of our congressmen that were up for election this year, the 4 that were incumbents and 1 challenger, and U.S. Senator Jim Inhofe. Senator Inhofe is constantly reaching out to us for input from Farm Bureau on our opinions on everything, and what a great gift it is to have him back for another round in the U.S. Senate to represent Oklahoma and the special output and input he does for Oklahoma Farm Bureau and for farmers and ranchers across our state. We're very excited about the new member of our delegation, Stephanie Bice. Farm Bureau was one of the first groups to reach out after the primaries and to support her, and she's told us repeatedly how much that's meant to her and how important that's been to her, and we look forward to a good long-term relationship with Stephanie in that role. At the state PAC, we were 33-3 on election day and 48-7 over the full cycle. Have many great friends in the Oklahoma legislature, and we're blessed with lots of great leaders in our legislature that Farm Bureau is able to go and visit any time. We have a great public policy staff led by Steve Thompson and Marla and Zach and Kaylee, and they have personal relationships with many of these legislators so that we can at least get our story heard. It doesn't mean that they'll necessarily always vote for us, but they'll definitely listen to us and give us an audience and make suggestions, and that will be needed this next year as we face many big challenges. We're also blessed to have a very good relationship at Farm Bureau with Speaker McCall and with Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat, both of which were just reelected to their offices and are likely to get reelected to their leadership positions when their caucuses meet. We also are excited to have good relationships with Dale Curbs, the House Ag Chairman, and with Senator Murdoch, who leads the Senate Ag Committee. Probably our biggest disappointment this year on the PAC front was the loss of longtime Farm Bureau friend Larry Boggs, who's been an absolutely outstanding Senate member and of course was a former state board member for Oklahoma Farm Bureau, and so we're deeply going to miss him from the Senate, and that was probably our most painful loss, but we look forward to Larry continuing to be involved in ag and rural issues. Blaine Arthur has done a tremendous job as Ag Secretary through all these disruptions and issues and has been a good friend from Farm Bureau and is always willing to listen to us and to give us an audience and to try to help us solve problems that our members have or issues that are coming up across our state. One other thing out of the election this last week, State Question 805 was on the ballot. Our members have had a lot of policy about criminal justice and about the importance of enforcing penalties on crime, and the board took those to heart and got involved in the coalition that was attacking or fighting against State Question 805, which we think was a poorly designed criminal justice reform by out-of-state parties. They were also trying to put it in the Constitution. Farm Bureau was an early leader of that coalition, and that coalition started out 30 points behind on the 805 question and ended up winning by 11 points on Tuesday, 61-39, largely thanks to rural Oklahoma, because it even lost in Oklahoma County, or it passed in Oklahoma County and lost when we were on the side wanting it to be beat. Was beat heavily throughout rural Oklahoma. So a big thank you to Farm Bureau members. That's probably the greatest victory on a state question in many, many years, as the other side is probably going to end up spending about $9 to $10 million on advertisements. We ended up spending about $250,000. So we were going to be outspent, depending on the final numbers, somewhere between 35 to 1 and 50 to 1, and yet prevailed because of the good common sense of rural Oklahomans and the leadership of Farm Bureau members all across our state. So thank you for stepping up. It was certainly an unusual legislative session, as COVID disrupted all the normal flow of the session, but we were successful in, again, holding off the municipal ad valorem tax. It seems like every year we're having to fight that to try to keep from opening that new beachfront for ad valorem taxes, which are such a challenge to those of us in agriculture when we have to pay that expense as a business operating expense, whether we're making a profit or not. I'm sure that'll be at the top of the list of things that Steve and his crew need to fight on our behalf this next year. Besides that, we're going to have other big challenges in the budget deficit. It's going to probably be somewhere between $1 billion and $1.5 billion. So we're likely to not only be fighting municipal ad valorem taxes, but other kinds of tax increases. And so we'll look forward and need your involvement to help our team to tell our story at the state legislature and across the state. Your public policy team was also very active in getting all of agriculture and the ag support businesses declared essential. You heard earlier from the insurance company report about the insurance company was declared essential. Well, it was very important that agriculture was declared essential and all those suppliers that serve the agriculture industry. And that wasn't true in all the states across our country. A big thank you to Governor Stitt and our public policy team for making sure that that happened. They were also very active in trying to make sure that agriculture was included in the PPP program and in the FSA programs to make sure that it included as many of the agricultural commodities as possible. And on the communication front, we not only used the traditional magazine, we not only used the Perspective, but started that new Roundup email on Fridays and did a number of webinars to try to deliver information about the PPP and FSA programs and other breaking news like McGirt and so forth to our members. And we plan to keep using those tools going forward, along with more use of the social web type outlets. In fact, they've just expanded the membership of the communications team so that we can even use those social web networks more to communicate with ourselves and to communicate to our urban citizens. Because more and more, it's not Republican, Democrat, but it's urban, rural on the political and public policy issues that we face in our state and across the nation. And a lot of that you saw in the voting across our country this last week. We were excited this year trying to figure out how to deal with the market disruptions that so dramatically affected our biggest commodity, the beef markets. And so that's when we did some of the webinars on those market disruptions in the beef world. We had a special study trying to look at the beef markets and things that we could do to either encourage new processing or other things we could do to help in the beef market. And it's a very complicated area, but we're working closely with the cattlemen's and with the other parts of the ag industry to try to find solutions going forward. The McGirt case is certainly, as we talk about the biggest challenges, I mentioned that budget hole of $1 billion to $1.5 billion, which is made even greater by the Medicaid expansion that passed by the voters earlier this year. The McGirt case, which makes, the Supreme Court ruled, makes over half of our state Indian territory, is something that's going to affect us not just for years, but probably for generations. And so Farm Bureau has been at the forefront of working with our congressional delegation, the governor and the AG, to try to look at what happens in these kind of issues with reservations in other states that have dealt with the reservations for a long time. And so we're looking forward to continuing to study that issue and to work on that. Of course, trade issues are a big thing nationally that affect all of our commodities. We're going to continue, have been, and will continue to be involved in trade issues. Broadband has never been more important than it is right now, as we see how many schools we're working, trying to have students work remotely and try to deliver lessons. And that also affects all of us that are doing business or using the most modern tractor equipment. So we're going to continue to be involved in the broadband and communications issues. A very exciting new program that happened this year, we've talked about for some time, and it finally is real, is the Oklahoma Farm Bureau OSU Extension ATV program that's now open and operating at Guthrie, Oklahoma. If you have young people in your community that you want to take there for training on the ATVs, and soon we hope to have that where it'll work remotely as well. And besides the actual training on ATVs, we're adding some leadership training that can happen to use with 4-H clubs and FFA chapters, so that besides learning the good safety rules of ATVs, they also can get leadership lessons to help them in their overall program. We're very proud of the women's leadership team and the young farmers and ranchers who you heard from tonight, and we're blessed with outstanding leadership there. I'd just like to remind you again to please encourage you to give your voluntary dues besides your regular membership. That's how we support the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Farm Foundation, how we support the Oklahoma Farm Bureau Legal Foundation, and we still don't know the results in the presidential race, but certainly if it does turn out that Biden wins that, we're likely to have a lot more need for the Legal Foundation going forward, just like we did in the Obama years. And so a reminder that you not only can give those voluntary dues at membership to each of those foundations, but you also can make separate donations on your own just when your heart calls you to be involved in legal issues, or calls you to be involved in the Farm Foundation, or if you want to be involved more in the PACs. And the PACs, we're using all the funding that you do through voluntary dues for the state PAC. So if you want to see dollars involved at the federal PAC, we're going to need to come up with new fundraising sources for that. And so we'd ask you to consider donations for that, or other ideas you might have of how we can fund the federal and state PAC better going forward. We do have a couple of big dreams that we're hoping that the board and all of us can work on. One is to maybe support more ag interns in Washington, D.C., working on our U.S. senators and congressmen's staffs. We're hoping to be involved in rural venture funds. In rural Oklahoma, we have 33 of our 77 counties that have less population today than they did at statehood in 1907. And the census is going to show we're continuing to have an outflow of people from many of our rural counties. So we're hoping to get more involved in the Rural Venture Fund, working with Farm Credit and others. And then finally, the OSU presidency is getting ready to have a change, and we're hoping to have Farm Bureau involved to make sure that the new OSU president either is from agriculture or has an ag background, or at least has a heart for agriculture. Those are some of the key things. There's lots more we could talk about. It's been a very busy year for Oklahoma Farm Bureau, but I want to close with a few thank yous. I want to say first a very special thank you to our staff. The staff at both the insurance company and the staff at the Federation are just amazing folks. Many of them come from ag backgrounds and have an understanding of ag issues on their own, and certainly even if they don't, most of them have developed a real heart for agriculture. They've continued to work right through the COVID thing and tried to improve their safety practices so that we could all stay effective, whether they were on the insurance side or the Federation side. So we're very grateful to our outstanding team and for the leadership of Thad on the Federation side. What a blessing he's been there, and for Gary on the insurance side. We're blessed with just tremendous leadership right now. I have to thank the board. You all have heard me say before, we've had continuity on the board for the last 3 years, and many of the board has been together for 5, 6, 8, and even 9 years with those that are term limiting out. Just a tremendous board, the best board I've ever worked with in all the years and all the different kinds of boards I've been on. And I can't thank them enough for the leadership they've had as we've worked to turn around, particularly the insurance company and also the Federation. And so I'm grateful to them, and want to give a very special thank you tonight to the 3 outgoing board members. Jimmy Kinder and Alan Jett and Keith Kissling are amazing agricultural leaders. We've been very honored to have them as Farm Bureau leaders, and the wisdom and insight that they brought to our meetings, the future thinking that they bring to helping us think about things that are still yet ahead of us. We're determined to find ways to keep them involved, even though they're term limiting off of our state board. We look forward to meeting the new state board members and getting them involved. They're going to start with an orientation on December 1st and 2nd, and I'm confident that they will grow into the outstanding leadership and fill the shoes that these three wonderful and amazing board members are leaving us. Finally, I want to get my wife up here, Donna. I couldn't do all the things I do at Farm Bureau if it wasn't for Donna. We're not micing her up so she doesn't get to say anything. But honey, I have to tell you, thank you very much. And thank you for putting up with me and all the travel and all the late nights and all the things and all the ideas. Donna, a lot of the ideas of things we do in Farm Bureau, and she's quite a bouncing board for Thad and I when we're traveling places. So we appreciate you very much, honey. Thank you. And finally, I want to thank our members. You all are just amazing. The ideas you come up with, the service you provide in your communities, the time you spend on your County Farm Bureau boards and County Farm Bureau offices, the leadership you give throughout agriculture in rural Oklahoma, you're amazing. And it's such an honor to serve you and to serve with you. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our business meeting. Gary Johnson from Garfield County has moved to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second? Leroy Odell from Pottawatomie County has seconded. It has been moved and seconded to adjourn this virtual meeting. Don't leave yet. Make sure and get your vote in. As we prepare to adjourn our annual business meeting of Oklahoma Farm Bureau, I want to thank each and every Farm Bureau member again for your continued support and dedication to our organization. Just a reminder that we have a complete open door. Please call Thad or I with any ideas, any comments, any complaints. Talk to your board members. That's what makes Farm Bureau work, is your input and your ideas and your comments. This has been a trying year, and I know it hasn't always turned out the way that any of us would have wanted, but we are excited to continue our work in 2021, and we are really looking forward to being able to meet again for our state convention in Norman next year. Together, let's press on for agriculture, and let's continue to rise to the occasion to help make Oklahoma's future brighter. I now declare this meeting adjourned. Have a great night. Enjoy the folks at your county hall or at the area meeting, and we'll see you the next time. Over and out.